This is our first in-person Wilmette Public Library Board meeting, and welcome. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is at 6:31 p.m. And Trustee Director Austin, can you do the roll call, please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Trustee Fishman?
Here.
Trustee Nealon?
Here.
Trustee O'Keefe?
Here.
Trustee Riddle?
Here.
Trustee Summer?
Here.
Trustee Wolf?
Here.
And Trustee McDonald.
Here. Okay. At this time, we are open for public comment. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Okay. Seeing no one that would like to speak, I don't see anyone here. Let us now just do a review of the minutes. You've got the minutes from October 19th, 2021 in your packets. They were sent out probably 2 weeks before this. Is there any discussion or corrections to those minutes?
If I may, I'd like to just address that I asked some questions regarding our review of the public comment and addressing the public comment from the last meeting. And I feel as though we discussed various responses and the items during the meeting, and it followed also during our finance committee meeting. I understand we do not need to record that publicly, but I do feel like it's acknowledged that happened during the meeting, and I would think you guys would all agree that
So how would you
that
like
is
to
what
change,
occurred.
what suggestions do you have? And what section, and how would you change that? Well,
I don't know if we necessarily need to change it according to our, the Roberts Rules of Order, and also according to our practices of recording meetings. We sufficiently, I think, recorded our actions during that meeting, but I think I just wanted to acknowledge that it was discussed, and and we all built upon that discussion also at our finance committee meeting that followed. So,
is there any other discussion regarding the minutes or comments? Can we have a roll call can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, Stuart Wolf has moved to approve it. Can we have a second?
Second that motion?
Trustee Summer has moved to second the minutes. Can we have a roll call to approve the minutes from the October meeting, 19th, 2021 meeting?
Certainly. Trustee Fishman?
Yes.
Trustee Nealon?
yes.
Trustee O'Keefe?
Yes.
Trustee Riddle?
Yes.
Trustee Summer?
Yes.
Trustee Wolf?
Yes.
And Trustee McDonald.
Yes. This evening we have no presentation, so we'll switch over to Trustee Summer for the Treasurer's Report.
Thank you. I want to comment, John did a great job on the notes of the financial reports, so if everyone read them, don't have a lot of comments. He did note that total general fund expenses are still running slightly lower than the expected 4-month rate, but at this point in the year, it's still hard to tell if the library will come under budget as of the end of the year. As the year progresses, we'll become a little clearer, especially in January, where we'll have reached the 6-month mark. Just a couple things that I noted, that there was a total of $283,792 paid from the Special Reserve Fund, several to Shales McNutt as we wind up the project, and another to Bibliotech for the RFID. Did anybody have any questions on any of the checks or the report?
No.
Do I have a motion for approval of the bills and salaries? Check detail for October 21.
I move approval of the bills and salaries, check detail for October 2021.
Okay, Trustee Fishman has moved approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Trustee Wolf has seconded, and they both for the bills and salaries check detail for October 2021 approval. Is there any additional discussion? Okay, can we have roll call?
Certainly. Trustee Fishman?
Yes.
Trustee Nealon?
Yes.
Trustee O'Keefe,
Yes?
Trustee Riddle,
Yes.
Trustee Summer,
Yes?
Trustee Wolf,
Yes.
and Trustee McDonald.
Yes, thank you. This time we switch over to action items, and we will have both Trustees Summer and Director Austin summarize the Finance Committee meeting of November 8th and give the highlights.
I will begin. At the last two Finance Committee meetings on October 5th and November 8th, attended by all the board members, following a discussion review of our planning materials, we all agreed to keep the levy at the same level as the previous year. It was requested at the last Finance Committee meeting that the narrative be updated slightly, and I believe it was. And just last comment is noted in the agenda, the deadline for filing the levy ordinance with the county clerk is the last day of Tuesday in December. We all discussed it and agreed. Do we have a motion for approval of the ordinance number 2021/22-202?
Also move to approve that resolution?
I'll second.
Okay, Trustee Wolf has moved and Trustee Fishman has seconded to move the approval of ordinance number 2021-22-202 and ordinance levying taxes for library purposes for the fiscal year 2021-22 for a total of $5,428,251 as presented. Is there any additional discussion?
Let me just add, I think that we did a good job, I think, discussing the three scenarios, reviewing the three scenarios of keeping the levy flat, reducing it. And we have the analysis and an extra in the additional reporting here in the public packet for our meeting. What I think we did a good job is making sure that we did discuss those three scenarios. It's also in our overview, our narrative now, those three scenarios. And I really want to applaud, I think, our committee for coming up with the items that are presented here today in our packet. I think they show that they reflect that we've thought this through, that we are being, I think, good stewards of our finance position, and I think that's all. That's all.
I agree with that. I think it will really help public understanding, and, especially, it enables us to answer questions more clearly, too. Gives us a good base to work with. So, yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Can we have a roll call to approve it?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Trustee Fishman,
Yes.
Trustee Nealon,
Yes.
Trustee O'Keefe,
Yes?
Trustee Riddle,
Yes.
Trustee Summer,
Yes.
Trustee Wolf,
Yes.
and Trustee McDonald.
Yes. Okay. The next part is resolution number 21-22-209, instructions to the Cook County Clerk regarding Wilmette Public Libraries District 2021 levy. Trustee Summer?
I believe the resolution is self-explanatory. Are there any questions on this resolution?
This generally just puts it into practice.
There you go.
So we voted on it, so this is now the action item.
So I move for approval of resolution number 2021/22-209, instructions to the Cook County Clerk regarding Wilmette Public Libraries District's 2021 levy.
I second the motion to approve the resolution. Any additional discussion? Okay, you want to do roll call?
Trustee Fishman,
Yes.
Trustee Nealon,
Yes.
Trustee O'Keefe,
Yes?
Trustee Riddle,
Yes.
Trustee Summer,
Yes.
Trustee Wolf,
Yes.
Trustee McDonald.
Yes. Okay. And now the further the discussion, we're gonna talk a little bit, Trustees Summer and Director Olson. We'll talk a little bit about authorizing transfer to special reserve fund, which we talked about at the last budget meeting.
Yep.
Pretty much everybody did a straw vote, was in agreement, but you wanted to go a little
I'll
bit
have a
more
little
further.
speech. It's brief. In the last Finance Committee meeting on November 8th, attended again by all the board members, we discussed a transfer from the general fund to the special reserve fund in the amount of $1.8 million. I'll briefly summarize the previous discussion. The fund balance section of the financial management policy passed by the board in March suggests maintaining 6 to 12 months worth of operating revenue in the general fund. This would require maintaining a balance of between $3 and $6 million. As of the end of October, the general fund balance was approximately $8.8 million. In order to more gradually bring the general fund balance down to the financial management policy, we discussed replenishing the special reserve fund with an amount equal to $1.8 million, which is approximately what was spent in 2020-2021 for the 2021 capital repair project. This $1.8 million was pared back from what was originally discussed of the amount of $3.75 million. Keep in mind we have long-term capital reserve plan with anticipated expenditures of approximately $7.7 million over the next 20 years, so additional transfers will be necessary in the future. Using this approach, we would be more gradually bringing down the general fund reserves in line with this fund policy, the fund balance policy, through deficit spending and transfers to the special reserve fund. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
I may just add that we chose that number based on, I think, thorough discussion. And I understand that if we want to make further transfers, we may still do that. And we may still do that before the end of the fiscal year, as I understand.
I think we can do them at any time, yeah. We felt this was just, yep, that's correct.
And one of the reasons I think it's important this year is we hadn't done any transfers in the last 2 years, and a considerable amount of work has been done.
Yes.
And even though we reference the capital reserve fund, that basically just looks at basic improvements. It doesn't look at any real enhancements, so I think it still gives us a little bit more flexibility. So I'm strongly in support of transferring the $1.8 million. And we had originally, when we set the financial policy, wanted to move our operating funds down to about 6 months to 1 year, and we agreed that it would be better to do it slowly because we never know what might happen. And I think we've learned that by COVID this year.
Any other questions, comments? All right. Do we have a motion for approval of resolution number 2021/22-10?
Sure, I'll motion approval of that resolution, 2021/2022-210.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Trustee Wolf has moved, and Trustee Fishman has seconded to move to approval of resolution number 21/22-210, authorizing transfer of special reserve funds as presented. Okay, can we have roll call?
Certainly. Trustee Fishman.
Yes.
Trustee Nealon.
Yes.
Trustee O'Keefe.
Yes.
Trustee Riddle.
Yes.
Trustee Summer.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
And Trustee McDonald.
Yes. Okay, now it's time to talk about insurance.
Okay. All right, so last week I attended the annual renewal meeting of the Libraries of Illinois Risk Agency, AKA LIRA. LIRA is an insurance pool with Arthur J. Gallagher that has 59 members now. That pool has grown rather markedly over the last several years. Wilmette Library joined the pool in 2017 when we had analyzed our insurance options and found that they were one of the most cost-effective options that we had available to us. And in the time since then, we have seen our rates being very carefully managed by Gallagher through this program. And I feel that they've been able to, I think, weather the volatile, what they're defining as a hard market for insurance right now, property insurance is extremely expensive for agencies like libraries at this time. They're citing that a number of environmental factors are causing those rates to skyrocket. We have cyber insurance, which was something that we had added in the last year, and that market has taken off in the last year, particularly in the wake of a lot of fraud claims over unemployment compensation, as well as we know, unemployment insurance has gone up markedly in the last year as well in the wake of COVID. So what you do see in your packet this evening is the extent of the materials that were provided to me in terms of the pricing from LIRA. So we have a one-page summary of what our pricing was last year, and then the 7% increase for what they're providing for us this year. I would say that we've been very satisfied with the rates that we've gotten from LIRA and the coverage that we've had from them to date. We have not had any claims, so that's been good for us as well. And the good news related to that is, since we have not had claims and because we're part of a pool, over time, whenever there is a surplus of the funds that have been allocated to the library, we will be eligible for a rebate. And since we've been in now for a few years, we're going to slowly begin to start to see some rebates because we haven't had any exposures. So I'm happy to present this renewal today, and looking forward to another year of service with LIRA. Any questions?
I'm going to do one
Sorry.
kind of comment that we talked about, is we'll just make sure when we do the budget next year that these pieces are more clearly delineated, because aren't they kind of, not necessarily, it's a little more difficult to see how in line these are with what we budgeted.
Yes, traditionally the library budget has shown in the general fund a line item for liability insurance, while we also have a special fund that is allocated for tort immunity for insurance purposes. And we have not allocated all of our liability insurance from the special fund, which is really where we ought to be taking that from. So when we draft the budget next year, the money that we've typically been allocated out of the general fund for the property and casualty side of the insurance, we're going to allocate that over to the special fund and ensure that we have enough funding in that fund come fall. So that may mean some numbers may change when it comes to levy time, but the bottom line will remain the same. We're just kind of moving it over to the special fund. Thank you for noting that, Tracy.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments?
Oh, I just wanted to, would you remind us how long the library has used this particular?
Since 2017.
Okay.
And Anthony, just curious, do they have a cap of who they, how many in the pool is, I mean, it's better for us, I guess, in a way,
I
with
think
rates probably.
It's grown. I would say that, you know, I don't think that they have a cap per se, but it's a fairly large meeting when you have to, you know, like a meeting like this, it's a board, and every member is a voting member. So calling roll call in a meeting like that takes a little bit of time. But no, I don't think that they've actually formally said that they've got a cap or a targeted number of members, but we're certainly satisfied with the size of the pool. And it hasn't affected the service that we've received.
So the person that manages it, do they go out from time to time to look at other rates?
Absolutely.
What's
So
the
annually
frequency?
they go out and they shop the rates around, yes.
Is there a motion?
I move for approval of Libraries of Illinois Risk Agency renewal of property casualty and workers' comp insurance for December 31st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022 for a contract total of $50,575.
I'll second.
Okay. Trustee Summer has moved approval, and Trustee Fishman has seconded. And that's to move the approval of Libraries of Illinois Risk Agency, LIRA, renewal of property casualty and workers' compensation insurance for December 31st, 2021 through December 31st, 2022 for a contract total of $50,575. Any other discussion? Okay.
Trustee Fishman?
Yes.
Trustee Nealon?
Yes.
Trustee O'Keefe?
Yes.
Trustee Riddle?
Yes.
Trustee Summer?
Yes?
Trustee Wolf?
Aye.
And Trustee McDonald,
Yes.
Aye, aye.
keeping us on our toes.
Okey-dokey. And now, okay, so traditionally, if we've passed the levy, many times we cancel the December 2021 regular board meeting. It's scheduled for December 21st, which is my birthday. And I don't want to see it on my birthday, but I'll be here anyway. But if the December meeting is canceled, the next regular board meeting will be Tuesday, January 18th, 2021. In the interim, the policy committee will be meeting sometime in December when we get it to look at the operations policy as well as the revised finance policy based on the auditor's comments. So, is there any discussion regarding, or any objections or
I ju-
concerns about
I just have a
this?
question. So what happens with the checks? And, because usually we approve them fairly short. Do they just hold over till January?
Correct.
Hopefully we'll approve them. Okay.
Any
Is
other-
that a problem with that duration of time? No, okay.
Other questions? Any other questions?
I'll motion approval of canceling the December 21st meeting as long as we all light a candle for Lisa.
I'll
Yes.
second that. You want to do a roll call?
Sure. Trustee Fishman,
Yes.
Trustee Neeland,
Yes.
Trustee O'Keefe,
Yes,
Trustee Riddle,
Yes.
Trustee Summer,
Yes.
Trustee Wolf,
Yes.
and Trustee McDonald.
Yes. Okay. And now, thank you. And we move on to discussion items. And you want to give us the capital repair? That was a really good summary that you sent regarding the capital repairs. So would you like to give us an update?
Sure. So, you know, for the last couple months, we've been kind of on the long tail of this capital repair project. So as you go around the building, you'll see that there are still a few cables here and there that need to be tidied up. We're waiting for some hardware for the fire alarm system. That's really the remaining system that has some work to be done. And once that work is completed, there will be some additional finish work that we have a punch list for. With the replacement of some of the fire alarm equipment, some of the walls will need to be patched. There'll be some equipment removed from the walls that's been replaced. So we'll be patching and painting in some places and other similar finish work that will be completed. There's also some additional low voltage installation that's going to be taking place, including in this room, to help facilitate the work that we're doing here this evening. So that sort of work is really what remains. It's not that substantive. It probably amounts to a very small portion of what we have remaining on the project. As I shared with you earlier, we basically have about $45,000 left of the allowance of what we had originally budgeted for. So we are still under budget for the project at this point. I wish I could say that we were on time for the project, but we're as close as we can be given the circumstances for the arrival of the equipment. But we anticipate that we'll still be able to complete the project by the end of the calendar year. And that is kind of,
Yep.
that's the summary of where we're at with the capital project right now.
Do they know when the RFID is coming?
That's a different project.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I can talk about the RFID project right now as well, or I can talk about that as part of the director's report.
You can wait for the director.
Okay. Any other questions about the capital project? Okay, well, that's my brief report there.
Okay.
So, I can pivot then and talk about
The director's report.
the other stuff. Yeah, so while we're on that subject, I will mention the RFID project briefly. So it is true that the RFID project also has a bit of a long tail. We've discussed that at length about the supply chain issues. We anticipate the delivery of the automated material handling system the second week of December, sometime the week of December 13th, we'll see that installation. It keeps going back and forth. I think we're pretty firm on that particular week now. So that space is the former shelving room, which has been used for parking lot pickup. It's vacant. It is prepared. We have all of the electrical and data ready to receive that. The staff is prepared. We've pre-programmed the system already to know which bins the materials are going to be sorted into. So when the equipment arrives that week, they will set about unboxing and installing it. That's probably about a 2-day process actually to get it all calibrated and up and running. Then the actual computer side of it will be programmed, connected to our network, and then synced up with our RFID system. And once that's in place, we can begin training, and we can start running through our first batch of materials that can be scanned in with that new system. And then the staff will then have full control over that system and be able to begin using it from that day forward. Once the staff is feeling more comfortable and has got the routine underway, then the shelving team that has been temporarily using the quiet study room on the south side of the building behind the reference desk, they will be able to move back into the shelving/AMH room, and then we can vacate that quiet study room and turn that space back over to the public. So we're hoping that all of this will wrap up again by the end of the calendar year, and we can start taking full advantage of the AMH. We did receive the, I don't know what the acronym stands for, but they're the DLA wands. That's the magic wands that we can wave over the collection that will read the RFID tags. It's an inventory tool that can help us track where the materials are on the shelf. It can also help us locate which items were misshelved. So we're really excited about that. We've got that equipment in place, and the training for that system will take place concurrent with the installation of the AMH. So we'll be very happy when we can put all the projects to rest and launch them. So a couple other items from my report that I wanted to share with you all. I'm really excited to note that this past Friday, we received word from the Wilmette Park District that our second story walk, which is our partnership with the Park District at Hibbard, has now been officially installed. So we purchased some new sign holders, which are a permanent fixture that will always be at Hibbard. So we will have a permanent presence in Hibbard Park on the west side of town. And we will also be maintaining that story walk through the winter. The one at over here at Votman, we're not going to be maintaining during the winter. Those signs have gotten damaged by the plows over the winter in the past, and so we're going to discontinue that one. But the story walk will continue through the winter months in our new location in Hibbard. So we're really grateful for our partnership with the Park District, and particularly with Matt Marubio, who helped with the installation of that system over there. The staff that have really been responsible for this, this is the brainchild of our outreach librarian and youth services, Ruth Bell, and our graphic artist, Sarah Rose, along with our facilities manager, Marcos Levy. So we're really excited about that. Back here in the building, October was our third busiest month of 2021, behind July and September in terms of door traffic. We had nearly 13,000 visitors, so we're happy to see those numbers increasing. Our welcome desk saw connection with, direct connection with patrons. About 3,100 patrons visited the welcome desk, and we provided directional assistance to over 500. We answered about 1,500 phone calls in the last month as well, so it's a very busy new feature. And we've also purchased a new desk for that space, and I anticipate that we're going to see the new desk installed at some point here by the end of the calendar year as well. So keep an eye out for that new welcome desk coming soon. Other statistics of note, in terms of the collections, we added 3,000 items to our digital collection in October. That was our third largest month of additions in this calendar year. And we also added 3,000 items to our physical collection this month as well. So a very busy month for technical services. The shelving team had a busy month as well as they completed the shifting of the materials on the lower level. They began with the 900s area when we started compressing that area so we could move the nonfiction DVDs into a single space over there on the far northwest corner of the building. And they just finished back shifting the collection from the zeros, that's adjacent to the entry to the Friends hallway, to accommodate the oversized collection which moved down from the mezzanine. So if you get a chance this evening, if you want to go over and take a look at, you can see our new oversized collection has moved down, and that effectively has reunified all of the nonfiction materials from elsewhere in the building down here on the lower level. So we're really excited to have that done. And now the shelving team is turning their attention to the youth services collection, where they're going to be doing similar shifts to balance the collections there. In terms of the circulation department, we're really excited this month to launch our first canvas bags that we've had for sale for the public for some time, so that team's really excited about that. That was a project that we worked on with our graphics team. So the bags are available at the Circ desk right now, and they retail for $15, and they've got an embroidered logo for the library on it. I meant to bring mine. It's now my daily bag that I carry my stuff around in. It's really handy, so check that out if you're interested. This last month in circulation, we welcomed 134 new residents, got cards, and 20 of them had applied for their cards online, which we like that we're seeing folks that are finding us online first and making that connection with us there. We processed 6,800 holds this last month, so that was a very busy month for us in terms of handling requests. And that was just below our figure of about 7,000 in 2019, so another benchmark for us in terms of getting back to pre-pandemic levels in terms of the activity in our circulation department. Total circulation for October was a little bit less than what we had expected. As I reported to you all last month, our September numbers were the first major increase that we had seen in circulation from our pre-pandemic levels. We were 8% over our 2019 numbers in September. And we were down 16% from our 2019 numbers last month. October was a busy month in the previous years, so that really is what's factoring for it. It's not a lack of activity, particularly inside the library. It's just an inconsistency in the way that those figures have been, but we're still very much encouraged by the figures that we're seeing. In terms of programming, we're still seeing a lot of activity in terms of our programs, and we're slowly starting to reintroduce more in-person programming here at the building. In my report, you'll see that we've got a lot of activity, particularly in the Adult Services Department with business and genealogy programs. We've begun holding more in-person programs in this space now that the construction crew is out of here. We're hosting our international film screenings as well as our armchair travel programs funded by the Rutherford Trust. Those are our bi-monthly programs that we've resumed here in this space. Youth Services is really holding most of our programming. So they did 36 in-person and virtual programs in October and reached nearly 700 people through those programs, including 26 story times that were attended by 616 people. So a lot of activity going on in youth services. They've brought back our canine reading buddies as well. So that's one of the signs that things are getting back to normal when the kids can interact with the dogs at the library again. In terms of special projects this last month, we did launch the website. We talked about that at the last meeting. It continues to be in development. It's been a big form of activity for us, and that team is continuing to work on that project. You've got at your places here this evening the latest issue, somewhere I've got one, of our newsletter. This is the second print issue of our bi-monthly newsletter that we've done since we've been back in the building. And it's a new format for us, so I think it's a really attractive update to the way that we've been presenting this information in the past. And this hit homes in late October. We've got a spotlight in there on a number of our author events. There's a page that's dedicated to the author events, including our next Meet the Author event sponsored by the Friends of the Library. That's on Wednesday, December 1st with Omar El-Akkad discussing his book, What Strange Paradise. And we've also got a section in there promoting our streaming and downloadable services as well. And then I also wanted to point out here that this evening we are testing out our new equipment and procedures for our in-person public meetings. So we have enabled live streaming, and I want to thank IT manager Fred Wallace, facilities manager Marcos Levy, Computer View for getting it set up, and our videographer this evening, Linnea Lundberg, has become a quick study in how to use our equipment and to get this meeting up and running so that we can step into the 21st century and have a live stream of our public meetings down here. We also like the fact that this is a new feature that will enable us to bring some of the programming that we host in this space and maybe some other spaces around the building to provide that remotely as well. So we're thrilled to be able to offer that service. And so if this all goes well, we will be promoting this the service more. Another new service that we've launched in the last month is the Explore More program. It's a museum pass program that's similar to the Museum Adventure Pass. This one, actually, you don't need to come into the library to use. You can simply go to the Explore More website, and with your library card, you're granted access to a number of museums and attractions around the state of Illinois. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. Just enter your library card and it will give you the discount or the pass. I gave you an update on the capital repair project already. The only other item that I wanted to share with you is that we did welcome a few new staff in the library in the last month. We welcomed back Ann Prohoff as a welcome desk assistant in our welcome desk department. And we have 2 new members of our circulation department. Circulation assistant Jesus Maldonado and circulation assistant Megan Noon have joined us. The recruiting efforts that we have currently going on are for a new digital services assistant, a new safety monitor, and for the assistant director. And that's kind of the highlights of my report. Do you all have any questions or comments for me?
Yeah, quick question. Thanks for things that you all are doing. Are there capacity limitations for someone, for the movies, and what is that, or for the youth programs upstairs?
It varies upon what the event is. So if it's an interactive event, we'll allocate spaces on the floor like we've done on the lawn. In this room, we're trying to keep everyone at a reasonable distance. As you can see for this meeting, the first in-person meeting that we've had since February of 2020. We've given each trustee their own table, their own microphone, and we're all at a reasonable distance. When it comes to the programs that we hold in here, we're following similar principles as well. So if it is a film, we use this projection screen behind us and we'll give everyone a reasonable distance around them. With the mandate for masks still in place, we're requiring mask wearing. We're all wearing masks here this evening as well. So that is still a convention that we're following in all of the programs that we're hosting in person. So in short, it's situational.
And then the other thing is, when you extend the Wi-Fi, which we've talked about, will it come down here? Because this is some bad reception down here.
Mine's perfect.
Yeah, mine's good right now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great.
We got a radio in here, so if we can, yeah.
Okay.
So I attended the Frida Kahlo. It was fabulous. I was just wished it had been earlier because I would have gone to see the exhibit. It was really, really fabulous. And I bought the bags. They are so, they're great holiday gifts. They're just the right size for, like, I don't know, my kids.
And silly as it is, but kudos to whoever decided to put a zipper on the top, because so many bags that exist don't have that way to close it up, and it's really helpful.
That was a must-have.
Yeah.
Yeah, for car transport, for sure.
Yeah.
Those turns.
Yes, I lost my phone on the way here. It's like, it's in my car. So.
And the oversized book section looks great. I've been down at Books Down Under. It looks really, it's clean, and it's easy to look and see everything. You did a nice job.
Great, thank you.
And the only other question or comment about the report, I like that you're putting in the statistics of the time frame breakdown of when people are using either in person or online. I know when we get closer to planning for the next strategic plan, this is something I've mentioned, a couple of years ago, but I'm still in the spirit of wanting to serve every member of the community as best we can, or as many members as we can. I know there's been discussion about maybe limiting even further Sunday hours and things like that. But if there's a way to determine the top 3 days that people are using the library, so just in case there are people that are coming on Sundays and they're not able to get here on other days of the week, and it may be that that's very few or nobody, but I just to make sure before we do anything with Sunday that at least we understand if that's redundant patron visits for the week or not.
That's great. Yeah, the circulation data, we can certainly track that level of usage. The door counts, we have a system that we installed in December of 19, so right before the pandemic kicked off. So we don't have a lot of great trending data for historical use of the library in terms of the door traffic. But now that things are getting a little bit more back to normal as we're trending backward to that, we can obviously study those trends, and that's actually some data that we're going to use to help determine what the best hours for us to reach the largest number of people for another project that we're working on. Is that a pivot point? Do you want to mention that?
Oh, yeah. We talked about it, and we're just, that the trustees might want to come spend 2 hours a month, or 4 hours a month. And one of the things a couple of us have been working on a survey and it's just a guide. It's just a guide to get conversation up so that we're present and to get a feeling for what they like about the library, what they would improve the library, introduce ourselves, and to see if any of them might be interested in participating in a focus group if we ever have one, if we have them in conjunction with the strategic plan. So one of the questions I've asked Director is, when are the busiest times? But not necessarily when people are busy rushing out, because I know that generally sometimes if they're coming in here at 5, they're rushing to get kids, but what would be a good time to get a diverse number of different people at different times? And then we would just send that out to the trustees if they want to do it. But I'm going to play with it and do it, I think, yeah. And I think Joan was also going to do it, and Trish, for that. You know, take some time and just try to see if it even works.
Great.
And makes sense. And wanted to do it starting, so.
And Lisa, did you want to start that, like in December? I mean, just once we get it settled, you want to start like after the holidays?
I was going to do it in November, just
Okay,
to
I'll
start
do it with you.
testing it so that,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
you know, I only have a week to do it in November.
Let's
1 week,
figure it out.
you know, but then and sometimes in December, you might show up.
Okay.
But, you know, just pick 2 hours.
Yes.
And then
Be fun.
sort of sit around, see what, but you want to make sure some people are here.
Don't come Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Right.
Based on the statistics.
I mean, I don't know though, I came at 5 this past Sunday, it was very busy.
Was it real busy?
But don't you close at 5?
Well,
Yeah.
it was like 4,
The
maybe,
last
hour.
4:45
Yeah.
maybe.
I'd have to check the statistics a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a lot of families, but doing what I was doing because it was blistery.
Yeah.
The deadline. I don't know how annoyed the librarians at the desk get when everybody
Well, I know.
runs to the.
Seriously, they were quite.
We're
they
closing
very-
in 5 minutes.
Well, you
Never-
got self-checkout.
never
You do self-checkout now, yeah.
Right.
Are you getting many people at 12 o'clock on Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, because it used to be at 1, so I was curious. Okay, thank you. Are there-
I just want to add that I really enjoy the walks, Anthony. Our family does. We also enjoyed them at Malincrot. There used to be, more. I wonder if he'll consider other parks. Is it just Votman now, maybe, and Hibbard, but.
Those are the two for the moment. The one at Votman, that is the more modular signage. When we had explored this topic with the Park District, when we were getting the new posts, the idea was we wanted this to be a sort of traveling show. And they liked the idea too, because they thought, well, that would be a great way to promote some of the lesser known parks around town, and we could just kind of, travel around the village. And then as we'd explored it a little bit more, they were like, let's make this a permanent fixture. It was kind of their idea once they saw the sign structures and realized, so they actually, they poured cement into the ground with these posts that are there. So they're going to be there for a while. But the ones that we've got at Votman, those are kind of like the garage sale,
Sure, the real
type
estate
signs.
signs,
So
yeah.
they're things that we can pick up and move around. So there's still an opportunity for us to still do that traveling show. And that's just something we'd have to explore with the Park District and
And
see
the
what
weather.
works best for them.
What cooperates with the weather. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Let's move on to our committee reports. Trustee Nealon and Austin, in terms of anything regarding ILA.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa.
Anything, the ILA, we're right now at ILA
Oh,
and
yeah,
Rails update.
There's no update for that.
Okay.
I don't have an update.
Okay, moving on. ILA, you've got the ILA and the Rails coronavirus information pages. It's just a point of reference. And then, how about a summary of the new village-wide intergovernmental cooperation committee meeting where you all had your inaugural meeting, and that was Trustee Nealon and Trustee Wolf attended this
Go ahead,
week.
Trish, go ahead.
It was interesting. It was under an hour, very well run.
No, last week.
We talked first about what we had, what expectations we had, and they were just very general, expectations, just really nice to meet in person, meet everybody, and what we didn't want to see happen, which was a lot of rehashing, giving reports on information that were easily available on people's websites, all that, But we were interested in kind of broke it down into maybe having like quarterly meetings, although it hasn't really been established. Nobody wants to meet like constantly, where we work on certain themes like sustainability, a welcoming community, DEI, or mental health and youth services, two areas that, some people in the village would like more attention to, communications, and, even sharing information about stakeholders for strategic planning. Like, apparently the village was, as we found out at the, the League State of the Village the day before, everybody but the village is still working on their strategic plans. All the other boards are. So, there's possibly some data that we could maybe share without having to reinvent wheels and things like that. So, really, do you have anything to add, Stuart?
I think it seems like there's very good energy to the group, and one of the, we're trying to figure out again what to do that won't be redundant, that isn't already happening with Anthony and the other directors of the other department, other government agencies that are already meeting, and so what can we as board members do? And like Trish just kind of touched on, we're going to try to prioritize, figure out 3 priorities that we'll bring to the next meeting, and then we'll figure out if we have a consensus among those priorities of what this group can kind of focus on initially. And then secondarily, we might or might not, we're discussing, to bring, we know as a board what things we have discussed over the last couple of years that sometimes get stalled, and does it help to talk about some successes we've had as a board and some struggles we've had as a board, and bring those to the other boards to see if they can help with ways they've solved things, or maybe they're aware of ways they can combine their resources with ours to in efficient ways to make, to move things forward.
Right. And in terms of procedure, I guess it's important to mention, the meetings will be open to the public, Kate and Mike Bremen and Kate Giant are working on a way to communicate to the public in a consistent manner. And what else? That's about it. Everybody, the big one. I'm just reading the last sentence from the summary. Like,
I have it here, but yeah.
We need to ask the board what they would like, what you would like to see, or what thoughts you might have, like just from the top of your head right now about any sort of intergovernmental cooperation on the board level, like so.
Well, they did that like new meet and greet at the coffee place. I don't know who was in charge. Someone did that, but I think having a library person there would have been if they do that, I don't know who sponsored it, but I found this out way indirectly. Okay. But if there's an event that maybe the village has that's like a meet and greet, it'd be nice if a library trustee could go and represent, yeah.
Representing
so, that might be something that you guys would talk about, saying, oh yeah, by the way, we're having this, maybe something.
Yeah, exactly.
For
I think
new residents, excuse me.
There was something I saw, I actually probably saw it in the record North Shore. There was a group of people who met at the new coffee place on Central Street. And someone had said, might have heard this through the League of Women Voters, that it would have been nice to have a league member there. Well, actually, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to have a library person there. I'm not sure how organized, but if they have those types of events.
Yeah, I guess just keeping our eyes and ears open.
But you might hear about those events through your, if we don't necessarily hear them
we
through
can
the
come
bill.
back and share.
We talked about communications as one of the themes, and it could be just like, let's find out more about that stuff, so we can be proactive,
So if you all have any suggestions, please either send them to Trish
Right.
or to Stuart.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Okay, what else? Go on. Okay, communication, I already talked about the policy committee. There was one comment from the suggestion box, which was a compliment. We won't name the child, but this is my favorite library. Everybody is friendly on October 15th. So kudos to our patron, one of our young patrons. Okay, and then for Thanksgiving, you've got the closures. We voted on them for next year, but they'll be closed at 5:00 p.m. on Wednesday, November 24th, and will remain closed on Thursday. And for Christmas, they'll close Christmas Eve and December 25th, 2 days. And then for the New Year, they will close December 31st and January 1st. Okay. And then you can, Trish, you want to talk about the League of Women Voters partner book discussion?
Oh my gosh, I saw that on the agenda, and all of a sudden this is turning into, it's getting hot. I mean, which is really strange because, like, two other good friends of mine, Georgia and Lally, we've been doing it for like 8 or 10 years and like got hardly any notice at all. But now it's getting hot, but it's just the monthly thing. We're doing it a week before our usual time for, because of Thanksgiving. But we are doing a really cool book called Oak Flat, and it's about Native Americans, the Apaches actually, and you know, the efforts to save their sacred land from mining. It's a beautiful, it's a graphic nonfiction, sort of a graphic novel. I don't know what to call a graphic novel that's graphic nonfiction, but and it was just a good, interesting format to do, because I think sometimes people get really tired of just reading, you know, just giant books, and you know, I think it's going to be an interesting discussion, see how the people felt like the art was interacting with the message.
I haven't finished it yet, but it is a beautiful book.
It's really beautiful. They're just kind of peaceful to read.
Yeah.
And then the last announcement is the Village of Wilmette is celebrating its 150th anniversary, and I'm on the committee, and Sarah Beth will be representing, and we have a meeting this Thursday. And so the library, there will be a central calendar, and we'll put the central calendar where you can go look at all the events for all the different entities. And those entities that appear, you've got the Park District, and we're looking at doing a joint, large program with the Park District. You've got the Historical Society, where our genealogy and ancestry fits really well with them in terms of doing some stuff. So it's an interesting committee. And yesterday we met with two of the consultants that are doing the village's comprehensive plan. And so what I gave you basically was just the postcard. You can scan it. If you've not gotten it, they're doing the first survey right now, and so you can take that first. They sent me the email for it. I don't know if others got the email for it.
I didn't get the email, but I just want.
Or you can just go to the website and take the survey. So that's why I dropped this off. And they are looking for it to take 18 months when I talked to them yesterday. So because I was interested in where we can use some of the information that they're getting is like if you look at, they're asking when you take the survey, they're looking at what's the character of the community. They're looking at community engagement, arts, culture, entertainment, health, safety, wellness. Based on those responses, I think that gives a good feel for what the Wilmette residents, and I think that will assist us in doing the strategic planning. But they'll be putting the summary of all the meetings they're having on their website. But one thing that happened when we did our strategic plan is they didn't get a lot of people last Thursday when they had their big open house.
Lisa, I'm so sorry to interrupt. This is not part of the 150th.
No.
This is separate now. They're not using this for the 150th
Right, no, what I said,
celebration.
what my segue was that they came to the 150th committee meeting
Sure.
yesterday to just do, and that was the only topic. It was
Introduce.
basically, they're interviewing different committees, and basically what they were doing was basically looking at what we thought different things were and what the issues were within the area of what we liked about Wilmette. So they were just doing, I think they're trying to get as many people as they can because they didn't get that many people on Thursday. And that was one of the problems we had when we did our last strategic plan, was it was hard to get people to come out, even though we did Metro, we trained the librarians, we trained the staff. And I think one of the things that we have to be cognizant of is getting the data any way we can, because people generally come out if they have an issue, or else they want you to keep it the same. Don't change a thing, and that was what happened during the last strategic plan when we tried to get community feedback. So it's just a observation. Okay, thank you.
Question, did you say that this is gonna go on for 18 months?
They said it's gonna take 18, that's what they told me yesterday, because I asked. They said the process is gonna be 18 months. And they've got the, dates and outline on their website.
Okay.
Okay, is there anything else?
I have just a question about the 150th birthday. Are organizations able to come to the library? Have you found that any organizations are coming for any, historical research or kind of ideas for what their organization will present? Because I know it's a month It's a year-long, like every month, there's events for each organization to present their, kind of their birthday.
Well, it's organizations present it to the central calendar. So like the library would sponsor something but it would be the library sponsoring. We may sponsor something with the Park District. We may feed on something that the Historical Society is doing, but it's not that individuals will come and tell us
Organizations
about their
aren't
organization.
coming, okay.
Yeah. I mean, organizations can do things and submit it to the calendar because
Of course,
They did
no.
a call, I think about a year and a half ago about a year ago, because I think I sent something to the Friends for all organizations to do something. I know that the League of Women Voters is going to be doing, I forget what it is, but they're going to be doing something regarding Native, I forget what it is, but I saw it, I don't remember. But it's just in some of the chairs have been trying to get us more firmed up, but the library only commits to about 3 months out, so that they don't have to cancel anything in terms of projecting their programs, unless it's a big one. And it's open, if you want to come to the meeting, I'll send you a notice, it's open to the public. It's 3 o'clock, I think, it's 3 o'clock on Thursday at the Village Hall. You can observe if you would like.
Nice.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion that we adjourn.
Okay, trustee Summer, motion that we adjourned. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Is that trustee Fishman? Okay, trustee
We probably do.
Did you, Trish?
Riddle?
So
So we had 3 of them.
Yeah.
We had 3 of them seconded.
Pick one.
So by a second, pick one. You read it.
All in
So-
favor of adjourning the meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
It's 7:27. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.